Hopefully we're recording. Usually got to go on for a few seconds. One of the problems I've found trying to go back to working isn't that I don't have the experience. I got 9 to 10 years. And I actually, unlike most people, love being in a truck. It's dealing with recruiters. People that work under a program, an algorithm. They don't know how to think like they're humans. What do I mean by this? I'm the opposite of most people when it comes to driving. I'm a natural nomad. I really have no interest in living in my house. I could turn into a rental. I could change states, save on state income tax. Basically put 20 extra grand in my pocket every year just by changing states and turning this place into a rental. Why wouldn't I? Now, when you get a guy like myself who wants to continue working, I want to go home. I have no interest in going there. This is something the system doesn't know how to handle. Because you're used to dealing with the people that are like, I'm tired, I miss my family. Okay. Well, you're an OTR trucker. But where am I going with this? This is Freedomville, like, subscribe, let's get into it, and always turn up the video speed. Why do I say that? Because you watch videos far faster. You should watch this at least at 1.5 to 1.75 because video's faster. Anyhow, appreciate any subs. Let's get into it. I, over the course of my life, I've found that generally working a job is easier than getting a job. And you would think at this point in my life where the massive amount of experience I have, it'd be way easier. But no, it's traditionally what others have said. It's not the job that's hard. It's dealing with the HR, recruiters, the hiring people. One of the questions that comes up when they say, well, I ask them, do you have a drop yard in the West Coast, in the Western states? And they're like, oh, we have one there. But then they ask the usual question, what's your zip code? I'm like, doesn't really matter. Well, we have to know where you live. I live wherever the terminal is. I get in my van and then I go out and have a good time. Well, now what about your home and your mail? Just get a post office box. Doesn't seem that complicated. I drove on the other side of the state because they paid me way more on that side of the state than this side of the state. And I did that for 7 years. Seems like it worked for 7 years back then. When I took the last number of years off, to do a remodel in this house, word to the wise, just sell the house. If I had known how much of a pain in the ass I would have done it. But at this point, turn the house into a rental, put an extra 20K in my pocket per year. Between what I'm paying taxes, don't pay utilities and the rent, and then reinvest a lot of the money just to do little improvements because the house is pretty much brand new. I have no interest in living in it. And by the way, even if I was on my West Coast property out there, I have no interest in being there all the time either. When I get back, I want to hop in my van and go do something fun. Like maybe go to a medieval fair. Hey, is there a jazz festival? I'm not even really into jazz, but it might be interesting. Wait a minute. I've heard Anthrocon's kind of cool. I've heard all these different little things are fun. Maybe I'll just go out to the coast and dig clams. But they're like, yeah, but your property, this is where you run into the robotic recruiter. Your property is too far away. Like it feels sometimes like I'm dealing with the movie, The People of Idiocracy. That part where the doctor goes, no tattoo. It really feels that way. You're like, it's not an issue. Like literally, here's what I would do. I would hop in my van the night before, go back to the terminal, park my van, get reloaded the night before, and get a full night of sleep at the terminal or the drop yard or whatever. I don't give a fuck. That's exactly what I do. And that way I wake up in the morning, I'm ready to go. I hook up to the trailer and I blast off for another month, hopefully month. When I worked at that one company across the, 6 years for the one guy, and then another year after they got bought out, then I decided to be responsible and do a remodel in my house. Big mistake. I should have just kept on trucking. Sold the house, kept on trucking. I mean, I've told people before I would have been 600,000, probably 5 to 600,000 up in the bank if I just kept on trucking over the last number of years between what I sold the house for, 150 there, then the 80K I put into it, plus, the last 3 or so years of working at 100K. I could have been making 100K a year by now, easily. And then the money working for itself, doubling on itself. Oh God, yeah. Valued lesson. Don't buy a house. It's a nice place, don't get me wrong. It'll be a good place for people to rent, and it'll be a good retirement piece or something like that, if I ever decide to live here permanently. I mean, honestly, I could see myself being a drifter till the day I drop dead. But, yeah, dude, just get back to the terminal, maybe go dig some clams, go have a good time. The companies that have the most to offer, from what I've found, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the mega companies, but sometimes it's that terminal network that's attractive. Like somewhere down over here in Georgia, I got family down there. So if I was parked in Atlanta, they could come pick me up. They could come pick me up, and we could hang out for the 34-hour reset, or maybe a few days. Like say I ran for a month and then I parked in there. And the best part is, instead of being stuck all the way up here, I could get my maintenance done on my vehicle in one of these Southern commands. And then what do? They're like, well, don't you have a route or a home you want to go? No, I don't. I have no interest in going home. And that's what makes me different from most drivers. Most drivers hate their job. They're not nomads. Most drivers are only out in that truck because everything failed back home. I can't name a number of dude bro, business majors or whatever that are driving truck because everything else failed. I am not that. I'm debt free. I have no problems. I've already won the game. I just like driving truck because I'm a natural nomad, and they give me giant piles of money. Plus, I just love the lifestyle. I know trucking won't be there forever. And I figure, while the gold mine's still there, why not go make more gold? Invest the money, be a further part of the invested class, where my money's making me money. I mean, God, I don't know how many people know this. Trucking's one of those beautiful industries where no rent, no utilities. You can really live off less than $5,000 a year. Basically just pretty much have a van, have a terminal, you get back, you party, you do whatever, and then take the rest of your money and invest it when you're young. 7 to 10 years, you can be retired. Go to the Midwest. You want to get a cheap house? All over the Midwest, beautiful little farm towns. Buy yourself a house so old people pass on. Get yourself a place. By the way, any recruiter might want to take that advice there. But yeah, most guys want to go home, and I get it. You got a wife, you got kids, you got a life. The reason you're out there driving. There's really nothing that some towns have some cool things. Like sometimes there's a festival. Like during the winter, I think, if I remember right, Long Beach, Washington has a crab festival. That'd be kind of cool to see. Go over there, you eat all the crab you can eat, or I don't know what it is these days. That'd be kind of cool. But eventually, the town you live in is the same thing over and over again. So it's just like you can only drive Main Street so many times. And same thing with van life. Instead of going back to a central location, why not just hop in the van and go to the next adventure? And that's the same way I do trucking. So when I talk to some of the recruiters, and they're like, you have to be within certain distance. And I've started it, I scout them out, and I'm like, okay, if I have to, no offense, I'm just going to fucking tell you, I'm going to figure out where your drop yard is first. Then I'll tell you that zip code. Oh, you're right next door. Because it doesn't really matter. And I just need a place to park my vehicle. I never imagined in an industry that's always crying that they can't find enough drivers. We literally hire people from all over the world. And by the way, I might be uptight about all the foreign drivers who cannot speak English, use translator apps. Some of them drive like they're crazy, like straight out of Mumbai. Whoa! That could be a movie, straight out of Mumbai with a Class B truck going around a pass. Shit, that should be a level on one of those racing games, straight out of Mumbai. But I don't have a problem with them because you can't get Americans to drive this truck. So you think it wouldn't be hard at all to find a good company. I've even considered moving back to the Midwest because there's one company that has everything and then some. And I'm like, man, it'd be nice. But I'd like to be able to get out, drive for a month, maybe a month and a half. If it's winter, maybe 2 months. Or hell, just go down to preferably a terminal in the south, like where I got family in Georgia, and hop out there. But yeah, drive for a month, get back, go maybe drive up to Mount Rainier, or some waterfall, some camping area. Go up on a logging road and just smell the air, smell the trees, and then go back down to the terminal or this drop yard, catch the Z's before the next day's load, wake up all refreshed, and go out and do another month of driving. But because there's so few of my kind out there, everything is geared for the average. And I'm having to learn to navigate a world. And by the way, I am not by any means claiming to be the super trucker. No, by the way, I know what that means. It's totally drive. 9-10 years of experience, I know what that means. I'm not. I'm just a drifter, which makes this a natural fit. So why is it so fucking hard to find a recruiting company that actually has their shit together? Okay, just one quick thing though. I have talked to a few companies that I can tell the person doing the recruiting is a trucker or was a trucker or an owner that understands the game. The only problem is all the companies that seem to have their head out of their ass, they all pay way less. Like I'd be taking a huge dip. And it's like, I'm not taking a $10,000 or $15,000 dip. So I don't have a retard. Why can't we have the mega companies or the mid-sized companies not have HR Karens? And that's really the problem. It's HR Karens. Your recruiters are full of Karens that they've never driven a mile, that have never done a goddamn thing in their life involving with a truck. The only reason that they're even way involved in a truck is they work at a company that happens to have trucks. And that is the biggest problem. That's the biggest problem. The HR and the recruiters in any sort of industry these days are the biggest problem. And it gets to the point where, let me give you guys a little pro about my existence. I'm really good at driving and I'm really good at bum and change. I can make anywhere from 3,000 to 4,000, maybe even 5,000 in a month bum and change. I'm really fucking good at it. People are like, why don't you just do that? Because trucking's better. It's steady, more laid back. Actually, bumming's way more laid back. But I figure, why not drive truck? I could spend 2, maybe 3 months and earn enough money to get by for the whole year. But I'd rather take the big money. I'd rather work the job, make the big money, and invest even more money. So when I get old, I have even more money coming to me. Why is it so hard to get the job? Just saying. Yeah, I'm an asshole, but at least I'm honest. Peace.